E-Tree has accumulated over 20,000 patents. These inventions are used in conjunction with venture capital platforms to assist in creating new opportunities for industries. Over its 40 years, E-Tree has incubated more than 244 startups and spin-offs, including TSMC, UMC, TMC, and FBAR, helping to underpin Taiwan's industrial development. E-Tree is enhancing systems, software, and services to promote multidisciplinary innovation, commercializing R&D achievements and industrial services, and in the process cultivating talent well-versed in multiple disciplines. E-Tree is dedicated to forward-looking and multidisciplinary technology innovation in 3 major application domains. In the domain of smart living, E-Tree continues to devote its efforts to smart endpoints and cloud services, next-generation communication, man-machine interface, as well as novel lighting applications, including flexible electronics and advanced display technology, semiconductor optoelectronics, 3D IC packaging, intelligent automation, high-value chemistry, and high-performance materials. All of these developments can be regarded as E-Tree's smart technological answers to people's needs for living a wonderful life. In quality health, E-Tree focuses on the development of innovative therapeutic biologics, combination materials and devices, and healthcare technologies. Research and development covers bioelectronics and imaging, biomarkers, orthopedic devices, botanical medicines, and rapid prototyping of medical devices, all with the goal of creating a high value-added biomedical technology industry, safeguarding and improving people's health via developments in key enabling technologies. In coping with worsening global climate and depleting energy resources, E-Tree aims to develop renewable energy, biomass, green manufacturing, intelligent transportation, and disaster relief technologies. E-Tree serves a dual role as a think tank and promoter of industrial development. To meet sustainability goals, E-Tree is committed to developing innovative green energy and environmental technologies for a better future. Along with the research and development of technologies, E-Tree also provides comprehensive industrial services. Leveraging its edge in patents and the professional assistance of Open Lab and Incubation Center, E-Tree helps drive the development of emerging technologies, as well as promote service industry innovation, thereby increasing the industrial impact and economic value. E-Tree also spares no effort in promoting research and development alliances and industrial clusters to enable upgrading of traditional industries and create added value for new products. Driving innovation and development is one of E-Tree's primary objectives. It has become a model in commercializing technological research and development, with the international community taking note of its efforts. Since 2008, E-Tree has been recognized by prestigious international awards, such as the R&D 100 Awards and the Wall Street Journal's Technology Innovation Awards. E-Tree has also received the Innovation Challenge Award from U.S. Aviation League, the Solar Industry Award, and the Display Component of the Year Award from the Society for Information Display. E-Tree has branch offices in the Silicon Valley, Tokyo, Berlin, Moscow, and Eindhoven to pave the way for cooperation with globally renowned enterprises and research institutes. E-Tree pursues an institution-to-institution approach to international cooperation, which has already attracted both Corning Incorporated and Oxford Instruments to set up R&D centers at E-Tree. An innovation and incubation platform has been also established to strengthen links between E-Tree and relevant organizations in the USA. In order to pursue sustainable development, E-Tree is endeavoring to build a green, low-carbon campus environment through green buildings and a smart grid, along with the promotion of a low-carbon culture and lifestyle, making E-Tree a leader in the promotion of eco-friendly research and development. Through technology applications and services, promotion of technology education, and corporate volunteerism, E-Tree has also contributed its technology for the betterment of society. E-Tree holds camps for underprivileged children to enable them to experience the wonders of technology and is involved in community-supported agriculture activities. Being one of the world's leading applied technology R&D institutions, E-Tree is committed to working with industry for innovating a better future.
Welcome everybody. Who here attend CASPA's events before? Raise your hand if you attend CASPA. Great. So let me welcome our CFO, CASPA CFO, introduce CASPA as an organization to everybody to see how can we help each other for the networking, opportunity, and different events. Let's welcome Xiaodong, Dr. Xiaodong.
Good evening. Thank you, Jade, and thank you for providing such a great facility for us. My name is Xiaodong Zhang. I'm a CFO for CASPA. So first, I give a brief introduction. What is CASPA? For people who don't know CASPA, CASPA stands for Chinese American Semiconductor Professional Association. So it's we have the CASPA founded in 1991. We have almost 27 years experience. It's a non-profit organization, and it has two.
Hold up, get into the slides mode. You can see it.
Okay, I think I did. It looks like it's zoomed back in.
No. Put in the show slides mode.
No, this is only, it's a PDF file. Sorry, it's
PDF. Can you try Control L?
Control L.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. So even we can see, even audience has technology expert in it. Yeah. So the main goals for CASPA is to provide, actually can focus on three things. First is technology, because we are technical professionals. We promote the latest technology, introduce, follow the trend of the new latest technology. Second is communication. We try to enhance the communication between the members, between our sponsors, and also between China, Asia Pacific, and also United States. And the last one is to do networking. So it's a networking, also education. So tonight is actually a part of the third education. It's a financial education. So the CASPA, we have over 6,000 individual members. We have over 80 corporate sponsors, also called corporate members. We have 11 chapters over the world. So headquarters is in here in Silicon Valley. So here is just a list of current corporate sponsors, like some well-known, most semiconductor companies, but we also have event sponsors from other industry as well, from law firm and etc. So this is a major event. What's the CASPA do? We have an executive club, and also have what we call a mixer, corporate mixer, to actually bridge the professionals from different companies. And we have a symposium to follow the industry is most updated technology. Overseas delegation, actually our president and is actually in China right now, and we have a delegation to enhance the communication networking between China and United States, especially Silicon Valley. Corporate Mixer already mentioned, actually provide the platform for our corporate members. And also we have our annual event that's in October. That's for all the individual members and also corporate members. And we have education and education day, also the financial seminar like tonight's event, and also the job fair, which will be on May this year. So basically, it's a platform try to enhance communication between the members, and it's not just for semiconductor, and it's almost for all the industries. So, and we have. As a professional member, it is important to know some finance as well, from tax or for your retirement plan, financial plan. I think tonight will be a good opportunity for us to learn something from the experts. Without further ado, thank you so much.
Thank you, Xiaodong. I just realized I did not introduce myself. My name is Jade. I'm a board member in CASPA. I have been volunteering in CASPA for about 4 years and really learned a lot and get update on the new high-tech, new tech trend seminar workshop, and also make a lot of good friends, good networking for different values. So who here filed your tax, 2017 tax? Raise your hand if you already filed your tax. Good job. It's less than 5% in the room. Yeah, so this year it's very special because our president has a tax update. You know how many pages is the tax update? Many. Yeah, so it will be, because right now it's the tax season. It's, all the CPA are very, very busy. So we have to appreciate our two senior CPA, very experienced CPA, to come here to actually explain to us and summarize all the important points. So our first speaker, Michael Yu, he has over 25 years in tax arena. So let's welcome Michael to the stage.
Back to business.
Maybe try one more time.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Yu. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for the invitation. We came directly from the office and indeed it is our busy season. But Jade had mentioned a few times to invite me to the event. I'm glad to be here. If you have questions, you can raise your hand. And let's go through that the changes. Then if anybody has personal questions, you can ask me later or raise your hand. Pretend that's your friend's question. We will start with individual tax returns. Can everybody hear me from? Okay. Okay, good. There's several items for individual taxes. And there are some big changes like personal exemptions, and capital gain rate stays the same, but some pass-through entity has been changed. I'm going to cover the individual area, and my partner Kenneth is going to cover the business portion of it. There's also just a cap for the changes, medical and charity, mortgage, and also we're all concerned about the property tax and income tax changes. And also as the gift tax has been changed, we're going to briefly mention FBAR, the foreign tax reporting requirements. Okay, this is a 2017 tax rate. It is so small and may not be very clear. But it's a 7 bracket. This filed jointly separately. I'd just like to mention, if you file jointly, then you are jointly liable with the person filed with you. If you file jointly with your spouse, you guys are jointly liable. Okay, I do have a case that my old lady client living in nursing home, and she met handsome man and decided to get married. And they married, filed jointly return. After a couple of years, the handsome man passed away, and a few months later, the lady received a notice from IRS say, your husband owes us money, and you file joint returns, therefore you are liable to pay us back. Poor lady didn't have no idea, what's going on, and that's a short romance. But if you file joint return, you have to be careful about your spouse history of tax payments.
Sorry, quick
Sure.
question, stupid question. Is that gross income or that's AGI adjusted?
That should be the taxable income. Yeah.
AGI,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Got it, thank you.
Yeah. 2018, you also have several brackets, but I'm sorry for this kind of blur. But the tax rate has been reduced. The highest tax rate reduced from 39.6 to 37. There's a mid portion of it is not so exciting, mainly for high middle class. Maybe like most of us. Capital gain rate remains the same. We keep the same amount. We still have the net investment tax to support what? Obamacare. Okay. When they come up with Obamacare, they need a source, financial resources to support it. Net investment tax is one of it. But since the Obamacare is still active, so we still have this net investment tax. Standard deduction, you can see the 2018 standard deductions has been increased substantially, especially married filed jointly. The second column, QW means qualified widow, then it's increased almost double. It will probably not affect most of us, but it will affect
lots of people live in a mid part of in the mid part of USA. That's going to affect it. Yeah, please.
On the previous slide, like
Yes.
the categories,
Yeah.
can you kind of explain? Yeah, so the 10% to 15% brackets, what
Yeah.
does that mean?
That means if your income fall into 10 to 15% bracket, your capital gain is zero.
Got it.
Sometimes you say, "Wow, I'm making money, but why I need to pay the capital gain?" That's why, because your tax bracket is so low, so it'll give you zero
So that's
capital gain.
income brackets.
Yeah, right. In a way. But if they should weigh all the capital gain, then there will be more incentives. Personal exemption, this is the last year. If you haven't filed your tax return yet, 2017 is the last year you can claim personal exemption. Next year, there won't be exemptions. There's some old tax strategies. If you young couple get married and if they have kids, they can save tax, but not anymore. The exemption will be done away. There are no more exemptions. Okay. But they come up with a children credit or child credit. It's $2,000 per child, and it's refundable. If you don't have that much to pay, that's become refundable. Can be $1,400 refundable. However, the catch is the kid has to have Social Security number. If the kid has ITIN number, they will not get this credit. Pass-through, Ken is going to cover this a little bit more, but just briefly, there will be a 20% deductions on personal tax return if you have pass-through, like S-corp pass-through or a partnership pass-through. You have K1s, then you get 20% deductions. But it's not that straightforward. It's actually a rather complicated computations. Alimony deduction. I want to cover this. Alimony for the person who pay alimony can have a deduction on page 1 of 1040. But the person who receive alimony will need to recognize that as income. But no more for next year. That if you pay alimony, that will not be tax deductible. And the person who receive it will not be treated as income. But I have to give you a window. If somebody filing divorce, it has to be concluded by December 31st in order to cover for the deductions. But my understanding is that court is really busy, and it has to have a court decree to sanction this alimony deductions. So if anybody have a divorce proceeding, they have to speed up. They have a 1 year window. Yeah, to be valid, they have to be by December 31st. I know court is kind of delayed already.
How about the marriage? If someone wants to marry, they should marry in 2018 or later?
Well, marriage will not be affected. Yeah, but it's only when they come to decide to divorce. Yeah. Medical expense, 7.5% of AGI just gross income. That's the last line of page 1 of 1040. That's 7.5% deduction for medical. But they're going to be expanded after a couple of years, after 18, then 2019 they will be expanded to 10%. I don't think that's reasonable because I know older folks like me, sometimes I have more medical expense, but not able to deduct completely. I especially feel bad for some people really need that medical deductions. This one is really affect everybody. Most of the people in this room. We call it soft deductions. That's property tax, local income tax. In the combination of property tax and state income tax deductions, it's the total amount is 10,000. If you're buying property, your property tax will be much higher than 10,000. Then forget about your W-2 state deductions, SDI, etc. The max deduction is 10,000. We have a program that we compute 2017 based on 2017 law. Then also we compute if that person's earnings is about the same for 2018. Under 2018 law, what will be the result of it? I see many taxpayers come out with higher tax payment. I have a client, I recently processed her tax return. She has a big house. Her mainly the tax deductions, mortgage and tax, property tax. Then 2018, she will end up paying $3,000 more, and that is very unfair to people living in East Coast or West Coast, especially us. I think that's politically motivated in a way. I did not vote for Trump, but yeah. Anyway, sorry. New York and Connecticut and New Jersey, and also followed by California, filing suit at federal court, say federal discriminate against state with higher income tax. But I don't know whether that work. But maybe after a few years they decide to hear the case.
Excuse me, that 10,000 is sum of real estate property tax, state income tax, and all other taxes?
Yeah, SDI. Usually we deduct SDI as a state tax, and then that won't work because 10,000 is maximum. I know several people rush into the tax collection office before December 31st, try to prepay the property tax. I was one of them. Yeah. Right.
Does this impact the taxes we pay on for income property?
No, income property that's business expense. You're safe there. Okay. Yeah.
What about there was talk when this first came out that the state was going to change the thing so that it would not be considered a tax?
Yeah,
Is there
we have the right
any
point.
activity on that, or is
Yeah.
Let
me recap a little bit. California tried to defend and to try to reduce the impact. So they come up with something that they create a quasi-government non-profit organization. If you contribute to the non-profit organization, when you're ready to pay your state tax, you can use that as a credit against your state tax. So on federal tax return, you're claiming charitable deductions, but on state you get a credit on state tax return. But I think they're still boiling it. I don't see that pass soon anyway. Yeah.
So you don't think it's good?
No, I know. Yeah. I think they're still cooking, but I don't know what will be the result. Okay, mortgage interest deductions. Good old days, $1.1 million. Interest on $1.1 million used to be deductible. It used to be 1 million. They come up with 1.1 later. There's cash with it, but now they reduced to 750,000 for the if you buy a house after end of December 2017. You're stuck with it. The max deduction, the interest is on the mortgage interest is 750. But there's a hope. 2026, they're going to revert back to 1 million. But it's a long time. We'll have to wait that long. Please.
Sorry, regarding the 2018 law, so
Yes.
if you take a home equity loan, you will no longer be able to deduct your interest against your tax, right?
Yeah.
What's saying?
Right. There's bank come out and say no, don't worry about that. You can deduct that, but IRS says, you can still deduct it, but it's up to $750,000.
So essentially, you shouldn't take home equity loan and thinking that you'll have.
You could, if you borrow it to buy a rental, you can deduct on Schedule E as a rental expense. You could, but if you buy it for some other reasons,
Got it.
then it probably not would be a good idea then.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, casualty and theft loss is more than 10% of AGI, but 2018 there's no more theft and casualty loss except the federal declared disaster area. There's a certain part of California that has been affected by that. Charitable deductions, they increase the deductions from 50% to 60%. You can deduct 50% of your AGI you contributed. You can take that deductions. 2018 they say you can make 60% of AGI, but don't do it. If you contribute 50% of your AGI, you're probably going to be audited. You have to create a pattern, upslope pattern for the contribution. If suddenly 1 year you have a spike, that would easily be audited. But if you contribute quite a bit, there's a program to pick that person up. Yeah. But the charity forecast that we're going to have a reduce of charitable contribution for 2018 because the last people taking itemized deductions, so they're probably going to cry for money later of the year. Miscellaneous deductions, we usually deduct attorney fees, living trust fees, CPA fees, broker fees. Especially heavy investment expense, broker charge you big fees. They are no longer deductible. Okay, 2018 that's gone. 2017 is the last year you can claim that. AMT, attorney minimum tax. I know most of people are familiar with it. Somebody call it ATM. I wish it's ATM to get money out. No, that's AMT. They compute it in a different way other than ordinary tax. They add back. They call tax preference items. Very interesting name. Tax preference item. They put it back property tax or income tax deductions, and then recompute it. But there's good news that there's going to be exemption. Exemption phase out used to be really low, but for the new tax, there will be a higher exemption. But that's different from Trump, where he originally proposed. He during the campaign, he said there will be no more AMT, but actually there's going to be AMT. Education expense you can deduct for K through 12. I get a question once. I spent 529 plan for pre-college education. So you have a question beyond that. But now you can claim K through 12 for education expense. Healthcare mandate. Anybody want to take a picture? Okay, you did? Okay. Education, healthcare mandate. If you don't have a health care or insurance for medical insurance, you don't have to worry. You don't have to pay extra tax. I do have a couple of die-hard taxpayers. They will not buy insurance. They're willing to pay the penalty. I don't know why. They decide. So yeah, go ahead, Michael. Charge me penalty, but I don't want to buy insurance. But starts 2017, you don't have to worry about it. There shouldn't be any penalty. But our software still come up with penalty computation. You can reduce that.
What is Affordable Care Act?
Obamacare.
Yeah. It's come up with a mandate. You have to have health care. You have to have medical insurance as a mandate. Now that's been repealed. S-tax, gift tax has been also increased from 14,000, you don't have to file gift tax return to 15,000, and the estate tax has been increased from 5.49 to 11 million. I probably have a hard time to reach 11 million myself. Then I guess most of the people will not be worried about it. But there's audit program for this estate tax return. They audit everyone.
Excuse me, if I give $15,000 in 2018 to my child,
Yes.
instead of 15,000, if I gave her $16,000, who will report the?
Yeah, well, nobody gonna report you. Your child will not report you.
Who will, legally, who should pay the tax?
No, nobody gonna pay that tax. If you give away more than 15,000, you need to file gift tax return. You are giving the gift, so you need to file gift tax returns. But that will be going to be reduced from your overall exemption from 11 million. But they still want you to file a gift tax return. Yeah, but you can give to 15,000 to child one, another 15,000 to he or her spouse, or to another child. 15,000 can multiple 15,000 gift can be made.
I can give 50,000 to him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, including, yeah. You have my name there. I'm going to cover briefly the foreign bank account. Foreign bank account is here, and they're going to enforce it. If you have accumulated foreign bank accounts more than 10,000, I will suggest to report it. If you have that under 10,000, there's a box of Schedule B. Nobody paid attention of it. I believe not line 7, line 9. Say, do you have a foreign bank account? If you have a foreign bank account less than 10,000, you need to mark yes. But the next line say, do you need to report Form 114? That means you're exceeding 10,000. You can say no. But that's the key that IRS will base on that to evaluate if the person later on need to file delinquent FBAR report. Then if you make a mark, say yes, the penalty will be, say you are, it's not willful, it's unwillful. So that will reduce the penalty. I just received a notice that the penalty going to increase. Used to be 10,000 per form, now it's about 15,000 per form. So, yeah, please.
Sorry, on the gift tax.
Yes.
So if I give stock, like if I own stock from many years ago and it increased in value, and
Yes.
I give it to someone else,
Yes.
and the person sells it, what is the cost basis for that person who received it?
The cost base is still yours. It's still yours. But when you file gift tax returns, they want you file under fair market value. So you report a higher one, but actually his or her base will be your base, it's still a lower base.
So they will have to pay the income tax on.
Right, if they sell less than a year, that's ordinary income.
Okay.
Right, I mean, lots of people transfer their stock options to relatives. Yeah.
Long term?
This FBAR is something new?
No, I think it's a long time ago, 1980 or 70. Yeah, it has been for a while, but nobody enforce it. Until one day somebody in IRS say, oh, why not? We should enforce it and make money on it. They made, do you want to know how much they made on this? Not quite, but 11 billion. Yeah, they made 11 billion on this program. They're still going to make more money on that. Aggregate value. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Quick question.
Sure.
So going back to the stock option question, right? So if you're a high income earner and you have stock option and you want to say minimize your tax, you should give that stock option to like a family member who is a low earner, because then they end up paying the capital gain tax.
You could.
Yeah. That was what I
Right.
wanted.
Yeah, don't sell it though. Sell it over 1 year. But it's getting more complicated if you set up some kind of trust. There's a trust attorney who can help you to reduce that. Yeah,
Okay, the long-term, short-term.
yes. The
Okay,
lady,
for you,
So
you
you
got
get
the what's called restricted stock shares.
Yes.
And that is, when they gave to you, they already sell, they charge the tax, but that is higher than market value, like you said.
well, I'm not sure it higher than market value, but it's restricted stock is a different, that follows IRC code section 83. Lots of people are making 83B elections to accelerate the recognition of the difference of the gain. But if they sell it, you probably are talking about RSU. RSU they give to you and they sell it, take the tax away from you, and then give you the stock.
Yeah, they give you stuff, but they already sell the part of that.
Right, just to pay tax. Right, you have no control over it.
But the value, you actually did not get the money until you sell it.
Right. Well, on the gross model, you receive that, but they need to pay tax on it.
On the definition of foreign account, if you worked overseas and, there was a mandatory government retirement, contribution plan?
Right.
Is that considered a foreign account?
Well, if you can get access to that account, that's considered your foreign account.
Okay.
But some of the others, you don't get access of it, then that's not. If you receive pension from that account, that's reportable income here.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it, thank you.
right.
Okay, on what schedule this is reported?
It's called Form 114, also a Form 8938. Yeah, there's two forms. Yeah, because it's so easy to make money. You're easily making mistakes. Yeah, so they say, why not ask taxpayer to prepare two forms so we can make more money? Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Education deductible. My son is in a public school, so no, we don't need to pay tuition. But how about the computers for him?
Well, I kind of thought it because that's debatable. He can use a computer for other purpose. Yeah, yeah, but mainly, school-related activities. I think you can. Yeah.
How about like tutoring?
Yeah, I would like that.
That one would count?
I send my kids to pre-college tutoring, but they allow me to make that deductions for 529 contribution.
Oh, you
Oh, you
can?
can
Yeah.
do that?
Oh.
But I have given them all the supports. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
So for the college, if you have kids in college, starting 2018, no more for college kids.
So for 529, you still can, but K-12 plus college. Yeah, yeah, college is included. Yeah. The most expensive part of it. Yeah. Okay, let me go on for this of FBAR. The penalty can be really high. It can be 50% of your highest balance. A couple of years ago, it's still going. There's a case that IRS won't charge 120% of this person's total assets. Yeah, and the person said, I cannot afford it. So he fell through, and it's slow going. I think that's usual cruel punishment. But that's this case, that's the environment we're facing. It could be reached to the Supreme Court someday, but not very soon. There's a few cases already in the mid court. So for non-willful violations, the last one, that's you mark Schedule B, say yes, you have a foreign account. That will reduce your penalty, but it's more than 10,000. They say it's 10,000, actually it's 15,000. Okay, I will finish my part.